just before the audio starts. If you end up enjoying, please consider subscribing. Also, I have a Patreon now, and I'm gonna put a link into it. I'm gonna put a link to it in the description. I genuinely don't know if it's set up properly or what. I don't have any Patreon exclusive content made yet, so we'll just see how it goes. If you're interested, check in the link in the description. I'm sure I put it down there, and yeah, enjoy the audio. Hi, baby. How was your day? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, hey, it's over, isn't it? We got that at the very least. Come here, cutie. Come on. There we go. You deserve some nice cuddles. Yeah, that's it. There you go. Oh, me? I'm gonna be really honest with you. The entire day, I've just been playing Tears of the Kingdom. Because it's awesome, and I love it, and I could talk about it for hours on end. No, don't get me started on the game, please. No, you will never get me to shut up. I will talk for literal hours about it. Well, I'm glad you find my little rants cute, at the very least. Oh? Well, I mean, if that works for you, then sure. You can fall asleep on top of me and I can just rant about my favorite game right now. And I get a win because I get to talk about something I care about a lot and have a lot of passion about. And you win because you get to fall asleep to this sweet voice. What? I know you like it. Alright. You sure you want to do this? Because again, I have a lot of thoughts. Alright. If you insist. Okay. It is such a genius adaptation of the original game's premise and controls, right? Because with the original one, you had magnesis, you had stasis, you had the other runes. I forget, Cryonis, and what was the third one? Why am I forgetting what the third one is? Stasis, magnesis, Cryonis. I haven't played Breath of the Wild in a while. Magnesis, stasis, Cryonis, and God, what is the fourth one? I know there's four. Cryonis. Oh yeah, the bombs. Literally one of the core principles of movement in terms of glitching in that game. God, I wish wind bombing was in Tears of the Kingdom somehow. That would be so fun to play around with the Sky Islands. Anyway, so right, you take those basic principles, like the mechanics of Breath of the Wild were fairly simplistic and easy to grasp, right? Along with weapon durability, weapon damage, getting weapons from enemies. It had a very steep incline progression, but there were issues with it. Personally, I liked it, but once you get to the end game, you get a lot of overpowered weapons, and a lot of the time people have the issue of, I have this really cool, really overpowered weapon, but I don't want to use it because I'm scared it'll break and then I'll have to get it again. But, what Tears of the Kingdom does ingeniously to work around that is the freaking fuse system. God, that is such a... I cannot get over how genius that mechanic is. You kill an enemy, you get their horn, it has a base attack that it'll add to whatever weapon you have. It doesn't even matter what base weapon you have, you can just fuse it to it. And the infinite possibilities, like with a Lizalfo's tail, you swing, it gets super long. With elemental horns, you swing, it becomes an ice weapon instead of having to find those really rare weapons scattered across the world. It is so ingenious. Who at Nintendo thought of that? That is so smart. It's an ingenious way to work around, because it doesn't matter what weapon you have. If you kill a strong enemy, you will get at least a few pretty strong fusibles. I mean, at least one great one. Like, you kill a silver boss bokoblin, you'll get that freaking circle thing. It does so much damage. And you kill a Lionel, you get 2 incredible fusibles. You kill a Gleeok, you get 3 elemental strong fusibles. That is, oh, it's so cool. And there's so many combinations of random stuff you can fuse with it. The Forest Dweller weapons, giving you like reusable items that normally wouldn't be able to be reused when you fuse them to things. They fleshed it out in such a beautiful way. And the arrow fusing system too. God, it is so intelligently implemented. Like, okay, I won't lie. One of the few things I didn't like about the original was the fact that I had to get normal arrows, and the fact that I had to buy fire arrows, shock arrows, ice arrows, and then freaking bomb arrows. That was the one thing I didn't like. But now, I just have to collect a crap ton of resources, and I can fuse them. I can put a Keese eyeball on an arrow to get an instant crit that'll home in. That is insane. And there are elemental Keese eyeballs that give it an elemental like addition as well as homing. That is incredible. That's so cool. And there's also like you can fuse like freaking horns to it to cause any more damage. Like the freaking Gibdo bone, like immediately it seems useless, right? It seems completely useless when you eventually get the Gibdo bone. But you get enough of those things, you could just fuse them to arrows and just do insane damage to whatever you're shooting at. Like, it is insane how strong you can get. It is ridiculous. God, fusing is such an intelligent mechanic. That alone makes the game worth the $70. But then they went a step further with freaking Ultrahand. Oh my god, that is so fun to play around with. I never thought that I would be able to build like a freaking boat, a car, a flying machine in a Zelda game. But here we are with all these, neat little machines that you can use, that you can just fuse to whatever you're building and just create these insane machines that can do like whatever, that can like kill a Gleeok in like a few seconds, which is insane because of how strong they are. God, it is so much fun. Like the freaking flame emitter, the frost emitter, the electric emitter, and like the laser shooter. Oh god, so the springs. There's so many little knickknacks to play around with that you can get so experimental with. And from a programming standpoint, the fact that all of the things you can ultra hand together work, and it doesn't just make the game just collapse in on itself with all the physics simulations going on, is freaking wild. How did they manage that? It is insane how all of that works together, how all of it just correlates so perfectly. Like, if you can think of a machine to make, you can make it in the game as long as you use the resources you have. Like, it's not limited by the game engine, it's limited by your creativity, which is awesome. That's so cool. God, that's so cool. And then there's Recall. Recall is really interesting. Like, I do miss stasis and being able to just hit objects and just go flying. That was a very fun mechanic. But, Ultra Hand kind of makes that null and void because we can make some incredible machines. But, oh god, man, freaking Recall is so useful. Like, you say you're on a sky island and you're creating like a wing, and you're attaching some fans to it, attaching a control stick to it, and you accidentally shake it and one of the fans falls off. You can just use Recall to get it back up to you without having to waste another fan or just have to watch it fall to the base of Hyrule. And it's so nice, and you can get so weird with it, like throwing a spear, using the rotation you have when you throw a spear and just attaching a thing of wood to it to just launch you like 400 feet in the air. God, you could get so experimental with it. It's so ingeniously made. I love how balanced everything is and how everything can correlate with each other. It's so intelligently done. I love it. It's so cool. It is so cool. And then there's Ascend. Ascend is really cool, honestly. Ascend is like, okay, I never thought that just sort of swimming through the ceiling would be such an interesting mechanic, but it is. And I can't imagine like creating and designing shrines with Ascend in mind, because it is so easy to use Ascend to just cheese everything, like absolutely everything. It's so easy to just cheese most puzzles with Ascend. And that's the really cool thing about a lot of the shrines in Tears of the Kingdom. Unlike Breath of the Wild, there was one thing that the shrine wanted you to do, and you had to figure out that thing. With Tears of the Kingdom, you can experiment. There's not one way to solve a shrine. There's always like some interesting and just weird way you can go about it that is so abstract but like so interesting. Like with the freaking first Ultrahand shrine, there's like I've seen like 40 ways that people have beaten it, like that have nothing to do with the core premise of like building a little thing to like, you know, go down that rail. You can surfboard on that rail, which is an awesome feature that I'm super glad they added. You can build a giant bridge with all of the materials it gets you. You can grab the little dangly thing that's like showing you, hey, you're supposed to do this, and attach it to whatever you're making. And oh, it's so cool. It's so cool. I love it so much. And the mechanics themselves, like, they're cool alone. But the fact that like, I'm not gonna lie. When we were first like told that they were reusing the map, I trusted Nintendo, but I had my doubts. Like I was like, that's a lot of reused ground. They better like, you know, enhance the world a lot and change a lot up, because I know Breath of the Wild really well. Like in total, I think I have like a week's worth of hours put into the first game alone. So I know that base world really well, like really well. But still, there were so many changes and differences that made the world feel fresh, even though I was exploring the same freaking world with the same environments, the same biomes. It all felt like new. And the Sky Islands, good God, the Sky Islands. I do wish there were more of them. The Sky Islands feel a little empty, but there are a fair amount of them. I do wish that they would add in some more Sky Islands, but God, it is like just going up there and just waiting for a sunset. Oh, it is so pretty. It's so pretty. It is insanely pretty how just the sunset on a Sky Island looks. It is, oh, I could just spend hours there. I've done runs where I've just like only gone through Sky Islands. Like I didn't even go to the surface until I like got every shrine in the Sky Islands, which is so cool that you can just do that. That's awesome. That is such a cool feature. Oh, it's so cool. It's so cool. I love it so much. And oh man. And then there's the depths. Okay, I won't lie, the depths feel a little empty sometimes, but it's still such a cool idea to take like the overworld and just completely invert it to create this underworld type thing where there's like, there's so many different types of enemies, bosses. There's a freaking King Gleeok down there, which is terrifying if you run into it accidentally, like I did my first playthrough. It's so scary. Gleeoks are so scary. Because they're not like Lynels. It's not easy to cheese them. You need Keese eyeballs, and if you don't have Keese eyeballs, you're gonna have a very hard time fighting that freaking thing. They are just, man. They are like kind of easy to cheese if you're well equipped enough, but if not, they are a challenge, and I love that. It's so cool. God, it's so cool. And like, you know, I love how whenever there's a mountain in the overworld, in the underworld, there's like a dip. There's a big old valley. That's such an interesting like change up from it's so cool. And the insane amount of caves that opened up from the upheaval on the overworld too. There's so many caves that you can just run through and explore, and some of them are really big. Like some of them are genuinely huge, which is so cool. God, it's like a whole another world in between the depths and the overworld. It's so cool. It's so cool. And all the little placement of items with Misko's quests, or whatever his name is. That's such an interesting way to bring back all of the rare armors that were DLC in the original game. God, it's so cool. And then, oh man, I love how the shrines are designed. I love that there's more of them, first of all. And I love Like, okay, so in the first game, it took me like a few years after playing it to finally get every single shrine. Because my thing with the first game is the shrines weren't terrible, it's just sometimes the puzzle was finding them, and a lot of the times they could kind of get under your skin, right? A lot of the times the original shrines were a bit annoying, so that kind of sucked. But in Tears of the Kingdom, like my first playthrough, I got all 152. I think there's 152, something like that. I got all 152 shrines just because I wanted to. Like that's insane. And I just wanted to because every shrine was so fun, and none of them were like super hidden. Like they were all fairly easy to find. I did have to look up one or two, but it wasn't that bad. It wasn't like a whole ordeal to even find the thing, like in Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, Breath of the Wild. And they're so expertly designed. It's so interesting. Like, there is not one bad shrine that I can remember hating, like in Breath of the Wild. Like, in Breath of the Wild, there was a few shrines that I was just like, I hated so much. Like, that freaking Blood Moon shrine. Oh my god, that was the most annoying thing in the world. Waiting for a blood moon and standing on that freaking thing. It was the most annoying thing in the world. Especially since, like, I didn't read Cass's instructions very closely. And the first time I did it, the first time I got a blood moon on that shrine and I was standing there, I still had my armor on. So it didn't work and I was like, wait, what happened? And freaking, I reread it and I was like, oh my god, I have to be nude. That completely slipped my mind, and I was so upset because I was waiting for like 2 hours to finally get that shrine open. Oh, it was so annoying. But with Tears of the Kingdom, there's nothing like that. All of the shrines are in the overworld or in Sky Islands, and they're all able to be accessed. And like, there's a few fetch quests where like, it tells you, oh, go get this crystal and access the shrine, but it's never that bad. And it always tells you where the crystal is. It's more of like a puzzle to figure out how to get it there than it is to like figure out, okay, what am I supposed to do? And I like that. It's just so much more intelligently designed. Oh, I love it so much. And the frickin' temples. I do, okay, I won't lie. Personally, I do enjoy the Divine Beasts. I think they get a lot of flack for no reason. I do kind of hate that all the bosses look basically the exact same. That does kind of suck, I won't lie. But I did enjoy the Divine Beasts. I thought they all felt fairly distinct, but I get why people complained. But in Tears of the Kingdom, man, like, I do love that they changed up a lot of the temples. And the Wind Temple, god, that Wind Temple is so fun to explore. It's so cool to just climb up, and the second you get over like the eye of the storm, and just everything becomes clear, god, it's such a cool moment. It's such a cool moment. I love it. And then Colgera is a extremely easy boss, but I do kind of like that. It's different. It's more of like a playable cutscene than it is an actual boss, and I kind of enjoy that. It's cool. And then there's the Desert Temple. The Desert Temple is a little confusing, but I do like it for that. I love exploring the pyramid that they have in there. It's super cool. And then the Queen Gibdo is a genuinely like pretty difficult fight. I do genuinely have some trouble with it sometimes, but it is a cool fight. And it does require some like skill and strategy to properly adapt to. It is really cool. Then there's the one in Death Mountain. Not a huge fan, personally. Not a huge fan. I do love that Goma makes a reappearance, which is, the second I saw the eyeball thing, I was like, hey, that looks like Goma. And then it said it was marbled Goma, and I was like, oh my god, it's freaking Goma. I didn't think we'd ever see Goma again. Oh my god. Oh, it's so cool. But yeah, the temple itself is a little. I'm not a huge fan. Like, I cheesed it, like a lot of people did with the flying machine. And I know I'm not supposed to do that, but I didn't care too much. I just wanted to see the boss, and And then there's the Zora Temple, which is again really cool to just like go up those sky islands, because I love the architecture of like the Zora Temple. It looks so distinct and cool, and like the low gravity of it, and the balls of water, exploring that place with Sidon, fighting a flux construct up there. was really cool. There's one on the Wind Temple too, but I remember the one in the Water Temple more for some reason. I don't know why. And then the freaking little silly guy that you fight in the Water Temple, he looks so stupid. He looks so dumb, but it is a genuinely enjoyable fight. Like, the one thing I will say is the bosses are a little easy, except for Queen Gibdo, which is weird. Like, I don't know why they're so determined to make the desert temple slash divine beast so difficult in both games. Like, Thunderblight Ganon put every other Ganon to shame. Even the final boss, Thunderblight Ganon, is tough. It's weird, but I don't know. I guess they just like making the Gerudo temples really difficult. I guess that makes sense. They're a tough warrior people, so they deserve the toughest challenge, I guess. I don't know. And then there's I guess you consider the raiding the Hyrule Castle a quote-unquote temple. It is cool. It is really neat to fight all of those Phantom Ganons at the same time. It is really cool. I'm genuinely glad that we didn't have to fight the Gloom Hands beforehand, because holy hell, they are terrifying. Like, I remember the first time I encountered those freaking Gloom Hands. Oh my god, I just saw a puddle of gloom just expand, and I was like, what the hell was that? And then the freaking, everything turned red. I was like, what is going on? And then I just saw them rise, and they opened their eye. Oh god, I was so scared. My first experience with the Gloom Hands was like right next to that Thunder Gleeok that's close to Terrytown. If that makes sense. I don't know if it does. You haven't played the game, so I don't know. But yeah, it's right there, because I saw the Thunder Gleeok and I was like, no. I was like, no, because I encountered it like really early into the game, so I just walked away, and then I encountered the Gloom Hands. I was like, whoa. I was so scared. I was terrified. And then, okay, what was I talking about? All right, the temples. For what it is, the raiding Hyrule Castle is pretty cool, you know. I always knew that something was up with Zelda, so it didn't really surprise me when we figured out that the Zelda we've been following was actually like Ganon putting on a facade, which kind of makes Ganon a crossdresser. Interestingly, I mean, hey, you go, King, Queen, whatever he likes to be called. But yeah, and then the Spirit Temple is an interesting one. It's a lot of fetch quests, and I'm gonna be honest, I almost always forget the boss in the Spirit Temple. It's not super cool. It is an interesting idea. It's like a boxing match essentially, which is cool. But I think it says a lot when, you know, you go on the Tears of the Kingdom subreddit and everyone's like, how do you rank the four core bosses? The four core bosses. And no one brings up the boss from the Soul Temple, because no one cares about it. It's genuinely funny. It's genuinely really funny to see. Yeah, but yeah, the Soul Temple's cool, and I like Minoru. Minoru's a cool character. Like, she's the only one that has like survived like those thousands upon thousands, probably millions of years. Well, survived, quote unquote. She's in a robot, so yeah, that's a really cool thing. And then like actually going down to like the gloom layer where like Ganon is such a cool little thing. Like, it's such like a journey, because like with Hyrule Castle in the first game, it was a tough journey, but like you could realistically get there without fighting too many tough enemies. But in Tears of the Kingdom, there's so many tough enemies that are just waiting there for you. Like, hey, I'm gonna get you. Like, there's a Lionel in there. There's some Gloom Hands. There's like several silver enemies. It's crazy, but it's super, super cool. It's like, it's an actual gauntlet that you kind of need to get through. And then, okay, the one major complaint I have about the game, the one thing I don't like straight up, is the spirit blessings. I'm not a fan of them. I do like the avatars you get, and they like fight alongside you, which is really cool. I do kind of enjoy that. But if I'm honest, I turn them off 90% of the time I'm playing the game, except for Tulins, because Tulins is the only one that's pretty useful. But I just don't like how you activate them. Like, you have to walk up to the spirit stage and just press A to activate it. I'm not a fan of that. It's so cluttered. Like, okay, so in the little wheel you bring up when you're selecting what, like, power you're using, right? Why not take out the freaking camera, which we have a button to access the camera in the first place. Why is it on that wheel? It wouldn't look any weirder with the camera off. I don't know why it's there. It doesn't make any sense. It's so stupid. I don't get it, but whatever. I didn't make the game. But like, why not put the spirit abilities there, or like incorporate them in your moveset, like how Breath of the Wild did? That's the one thing I think Breath of the Wild did better than Tears of the Kingdom. The incorporation of the abilities into your moveset. Like for Rivali's Gale, you just have to hold down the jump button, and then you'll get a big old boost. That's cool. For Urbosa's Fury, you just have to charge an attack, and you'll do a ton of damage. That's cool. For Mipha's Grace, you just have to die, and then it acts like a fairy, but on steroids. That's cool. For Daruk's Protection, I almost forgot his name. For Daruk's Protection, you just have to hold the shield button, and it gives you an auto parry. That's awesome. That's really cool. It really organically fits in. But with these, it's just annoying having to track them down, like in the battlefield, and be like, hey, Sidon, I want to use your water shield for once. I actually kind of need it right now. And he's just like fighting something. It's annoying. The only one I have activated all the time is Tulin, because with Tulin, when you're on your paraglider, you can just press A to do the boost, which is so much better than like having to interact with him. But it's also annoying because when I use the Zonai Pachinko machines to get Zonai devices, I will accidentally activate his gust, and they'll all get blown off the Sky Island. It's happened to me like 8 times, and I get so mad every time that I just turn him off. I don't care. I just don't play with the Sage abilities. They just annoy me. But that's my one gripe about the game. That is my one gripe. That's it. Other than that, there's just so much to do in the game. It's so filled to the brim with stuff to do, side quests, little things you can do along also the Korok missions where you're reuniting 2 Koroks. I genuinely do really like that. That's a nice little add-on. I think that adds a lot in terms of like, with, because there's 1,000 Koroks in this game instead of, 900 like in the last game. I never collected all the Koroks. Screw that. I like inventory space, but I don't like inventory space that much. And the only reason I collected so many Korok seeds in the first game was for Trial of the Sword, which doesn't exist in this game, so, kind of useless. But, yeah, it's still so cool. And the building house, you can build your own house and make it however you like. That is a really cool feature. Because it's kind of weird that, like, Zelda just kind of moves into Link's house. I guess they are kind of living together, which is kind of adorable, because it is confirmed that they're together, which is very cute. It's very sweet. It's adorable. I like them as a couple. But I do love the customization of your house. It's so cool that they gave you all that customization. It's so cool. I also love how the guy who gives you all of the stuff to build your house doesn't question that you can just lift it with magic and just attach it to the rest of your house. He just doesn't question that. I love that. But yeah, it's so cool. There's so much to do in the game. It's so intelligently crafted to be such an incredible experience. Oh, God, I love it so much. The one thing that I think would really make the game perfect is DLC. I am genuinely sad that they will not add DLC, but I respect it. I do. I mean, I am really excited for the next Zelda game. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. I mean, they're keeping the open world type thing, which, is a smart move, because clearly they sell super well, the open world formula. But, I also love it. So I'm excited to see, like, how they go about changing this formula for the next game. But I do wish that they would at the very least, add a master mode. Because, okay, I will admit, Tears of the Kingdom is a very, very good difficulty, right? It's, like, a fair bit above base Breath of the Wild, because Breath of the Wild was pretty easy. And it's not quite as hard as Master Mode. I mean, especially, like, starter area Master Mode, because you can die there a lot, especially with the regenerating health. Like, God, there's some strong... Like, there's a Lionel on the Great Plateau. That is insane. I mean, I've killed that Lionel, like, dozens of times before leaving the Great Plateau, but still, that's insane. But, it's so cool, and I really wish they added in some DLC. Like, could you imagine how cool a Trial of the Sword type thing would be? with Fuse and Ultrahand, like giving you certain, like, you know, Zonai devices and certain fusible items, like forcing you to use them and get creative. God, they could be so creative with that. That would be such a fun challenge. God, because like Trial of the Sword in the base game and Breath of the Wild, it's not that hard once you like get used to it. The only hard room, ironically, is that room with like the three Lizalfos, and you like start in front of one, and like you know the first one sees you and he's like, oh, what's that? And he blows his horn, and then they come at you. That's like straight up the hardest room in the entirety of the Trial of the Sword. And it's in like the first section of it, which is weird. Like the rest of it's kind of easy. It like you got to be careful, but it's still by far the hardest room. But it just drives me nuts how creative they could get with all of the things they have. But and you know, a master mode too would be so cool. Like they could go really creative with it. Like I don't know, make Gleoks instead of giving them like you know a new form, like a golden Gleok or something. You could make them like you know when you get them to half health, they could behave like an actual Hydra and or a Gleok from the game they're originally from, where they get to half health and they grow 3 more heads. That would be terrifying. And like the King Gleok could like start with 3 heads or 6 heads. That would make it so much more difficult. But it would be a really cool change that I think would a lot of people would really enjoy. And like they could add in some Master Mode exclusive enemies like Dark Nuts. We haven't seen Dark Nuts in freaking forever. Imagine a Dark Nut in Breath of the Wild. That would be so much fun to fight. Like a Lionel type enemy, but it's like a knight. A Dark Nut. That would be so cool. But hey, I do respect their creative decision. I mean, because giving Tears of the Kingdom some DLC would give them so much more money. Like, I know they have a ton of money from Tears of the Kingdom already, but that would give them so much more money. Like, so much more. So many people would buy that just to get the DLC. God, it sucks. But again, I respect their creative choices. AGL Numa, he's done all he wants with the game, and I respect that. I respect that he's not being forced to make more for the game. And, you know, the fact that Breath of the Wild had DLC in the first place was kind of out of nowhere. We were like, what? The game has DLC? What? But, man, I love the game. I do. I really enjoy the game. I do think I have more nostalgia for Breath of the Wild, but, man, Tears of the Kingdom is so cool. And, oh my god, I haven't even mentioned this. The freaking memories. I think the story is so much better in Breath of the Wild. I mean, Tears of the Kingdom. Breath of the Wild story is fine. It's just little vignettes of Link and Zelda being like, oh, I don't like him, to, ooh, he's kind of hot, you know, that kind of thing. But in Tears of the Kingdom, there's so much more urgency towards it. And something I love, is I went to the Temple of Time before I got any memories, and I knew what the giant scribes on the ground were. They were memories. I went there before I figured that out, and I just discovered Raru's, like, castle, or, like, his hideout. And, like, I just discovered, like, the thing, like, saying where all the runes were, or, like, the memories were. And I didn't know what it was, and I was just, it was so, like, I was so awe-inspired. I was like, this is so crazy. Like, I have no idea what this is, but it's so cool, and it felt so organic, you know? Yeah, man, it was such a magical moment. And then I finally, like, explored one of the memory things, and I found a little puddle. I was like, oh, what's this do? And I was like, oh, these are memories, okay. Which I do genuinely like. That is another thing that I think Tears of the Kingdom does a lot better than Breath of the Wild. They make it so it's not nearly as hard to figure out where memories are. You can just be like, oh, there's a giant freaking drawing of a Molduga below me. There's a memory there. Like, it's like some of them are kind of hidden, like the one of Ganon, because like if you don't go to the Gerudo desert, you'll be like, where is it? And then you'll pass them out and you'll be like, oh, there. But still, man, it's so cool. Like they did such a good job with enhancing basically every part of Breath of the Wild to like the nth degree. God, it's such a well-crafted game. It's such a well-crafted game. I love it so much. And the new enemies too. God, I wish they added more new enemies, I'll be honest. But I'm glad they added more, because like in Breath of the Wild, it was kind of annoying that the only real thing you would encounter was either a Lizalfos, a Moblin, or a Bokoblin. It was one of the three. You very rarely came across anything different. I mean, occasionally you'd find a guardian, but still, like, once you figured out the timing to parry, they weren't that hard to fight. And I do kind of wish guardians stuck around for Tears of the Kingdom. That would be really cool, but, for lore reasons, all of the Sheikah tech just, like, disappeared after the Calamity was beaten, even though it didn't disappear after the first time the Calamity was defeated, but, freaking whatever, why obey to your own lore? I am so in love with that game. I love it so much. I can replay it so many times over and over and over and just do things differently every time. And I just wish, like, just some DLC would be the icing on the cake. It would make it a literally perfect experience. Because, like, something like the Trial of the Sword, a master mode, and maybe something like the Champion's Ballad, like something to explain, like, where Cass went, because that is the one thing I appall about this game. Where the hell is Cass? I love Cass so much from the first game. Where is he? I want to give him a hug. I miss him. I love Cass so much. He was such a cool character. But, whatever. They didn't see any use for him, so they threw the big old bird boy away. Whatever. But, like, something like the Champion's Ballad, I think, would just make the game feel so much more full, Because, like, there's a lot of things dotted around, but, like, not a lot of huge objectives, you know what I mean? And, like, just a little something extra, like the Champion's Ballad, the Trial of the Sword, and a Master Mode. That's all I would want. Just a Master Mode and the Trial of the Sword. I'll take just a Master Mode. That's all I would want. Like, okay. I won't lie. When they said we've exhausted all creative avenues for Tears of the Kingdom, I kind of called bullcrap, because, like, with what you've built, you could add Zonai devices, you could add dungeons, you could explore, like, what happened to the Guardians and the Sheikah tech, instead of just saying, oh, it disappeared, But, like, there are so many avenues you could go down. Like, you have not exhausted all creative avenues with Tears of the Kingdom. There is so much more you could do. Like, add in Dark Nuts. Come on. But, whatever. They still made a fantastic game, and I do respect the creative integrity of being like, no, we made a finished product, and we are proud of our finished product. We want to move on to the next thing. I respect the hell out of that, because, like, I'll be honest, Nintendo sometimes sucks as a company, but, like, in terms of making their games, they make some killer games. Like, Mario Odyssey. I enjoy Mario Odyssey so much. Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, obviously. God, such good games. I'm so psyched for when they finally reveal the next 3D Mario, because, like, it's gonna be so good. Like, they're saving it for that next console, but, man, I'm getting so impatient. I'm getting impatient for that, the release of Chapter 3 and 4 of Deltarune, and there was one more game I was waiting for. I don't remember. But yeah, the Nintendo's next console, along with the 3D Mario and Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4, those are the things I'm very eager about right now. But, I gotta wait. It's whenever. And you know what? I get to wait with an incredibly wonderful woman. So I have that. Oh, you are dead asleep. I guess my rambling put you to sleep. Hey, I'll take it as a compliment, I suppose. Cutie. Sleep well, sweetie. I'll make you some breakfast.